Why are the Americans threatening Burkina Faso? Why is Trump going to back for the French and going after this guy? Why is the head of the U.S. AFRICOM, the Africa Command, talking about the need to secure Burkina Faso's resources? Because this guy is the boogeyman to European imperialism. He's a young black African Muslim Marxist who is digging out the French deep state in Africa. French colonialism never ended in Africa. The French have a very effective deep state in Africa. Through the banking system, through fake ownership of the natural resources of Africa, they have been able to maintain economic and political and military control over much of their former colonies. Most of the wealth of France is still stolen from Africa. The gold that fills their banks, the uranium that powers their metropolis, all of this is looted from Africa. When they pulled out, they installed a deep state with corrupt rulers that they could pay off in order to get resources for practically nothing. And Traoré is ending that system. French created a banking system for Africa that gives France basic entire control over those nations' economies. The Africans actually have to borrow their own money at interest from France. And the gold mines, the uranium mines, all the natural resources in these countries are treated as French property, and Traoré has been making them property of the Burkina people. And as leader of the Alliance of Sahel States, his neighbors have been joining in on it. France has been getting driven out of Africa. Some good information on it. Check out the Al Jazeera documentary, The Gold Mafia from Al Jazeera Investigates, or this Caspian Report video about how the French bank basically owns a bunch of African countries. Now, while Trump probably does not have any direct financial interest in the French Empire, there's what they always called the threat of a good example. The reason they tried to kill Fidel Castro so many times and blockaded Cuba was not just because of the loss of the banana fields and sugarcane fields. It was that if driving imperialism out of a country improves the standard of living in that country, then there's the threat of a good example of other countries replicating. So any country that dared to defy imperialism had to be severely punished. And what Brother Ibrahim has been doing and the Alliance of Sahel States have been doing has been improving the standard of living in their countries by using those resources for those countries, and that is a threat to imperialism worldwide. There's been something like 20 or 21 coup attempts or assassination attempts on him so far, and they're not going to stop. This guy is perhaps the single greatest threat to the imperialist world order right now.
A whole lot of people are so happy about what is really going on in Burkina Faso because of the development of the country right now. A whole lot of white people are also coming out in numbers to defend Burkina Faso president that no is no to the Western. Let's watch this video. There is more to this video. Leave your comment in the comment section, like and share. If you've not subscribed, subscribe, and let's watch this video to the end. I have more just for you guys. Let's go.
Why Ibrahim Traoré is posing such a big problem for the West and why they want rid of him. Because this guy's doing what a leader should do. He's protecting African people and he's protecting African resources. Take a look at what Ibrahim Traoré has done since he was elected in 2023. Increased the GDP of Burkina Faso from 18.8 billion to 22.1 billion. He reduced the salaries of ministers by 30% and increased the salary of civil servants by 50%. He made Burkina Faso a debt-free country. Now think about what our government is doing to farmers in the UK, and then look at what Ibrahim Traoré has done for farmers in his country. He bought them 400 tractors, 239 tillers, 710 motorbikes, 714 pumps, which meant the production of millet, rice, tomatoes and cotton rose by millions of tons. But the main reason why they want rid of Ibrahim Traoré is because he's banned the colonial exploitation from France and the West, who for years have kept Africa poor and weak by exploiting the minerals. All the gold, oil, platinum, diamonds, all these precious minerals have been extracted from Africa. The African people have been paid pennies, and that's what's keeping them poor. Now he's a problem, he's a terrorist, and the West have to go in and help Burkina Faso. Just like we went in and helped Palestine, we went in and helped Syria, just like we went in and helped Libya. They destroy the infrastructure and destroy the lives of the people so they can get what they want, line their own pockets, and have complete control of how the world works. And if Ibrahim Traoré, God willing, stays alive and succeeds, this is a big problem for the New World Order moving forward. It means no one world government. It means no one world currency, because if you can't control Africa, you can't control the world. So this is why we need to pray for this man. This is why we need to keep him alive. And this is why we don't believe believe anything we see on the mainstream media about him being a problem, a terrorist, an extremist, someone with empathy, someone with courage, someone who's willing to die for his people for what he believes.
Also insulted all Africans.
I think they forgot to say thank you to us. It's not a big deal. It will come with time.
There is a part that caught my attention where he talked about ingratitude.
Gratitude, I am well aware, is a non-transmissible disease to humans.
He is human. Our ingratitude is not transmissible to him. This is how this gentleman sees Africa, sees Africans. We are not human in his eyes. I think that if he is not an atheist and he prays, every morning when he wakes up and prays, he should also pray to the Africans. Because it is thanks to our ancestors that there is a France today. He should pray to us.
France occupied Burkina Faso for generations. They stole gold and uranium, billions of dollars of resources for pennies on the dollar, while the people of Burkina Faso suffered. But Burkina Faso's new revolutionary leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, says no more. Traoré has kicked out all of the French troops from his country in Africa. He has banned exports of gold to Paris, and he has dropped French as the official language of Burkina Faso. It's a total cultural, political, and economic reset. Now, obviously, French President Emmanuel Macron is kind of upset with all of this. He has made his position known. And President Traoré beautifully responded. He said, if anyone is ungrateful, it is him, Emmanuel Macron. France exists today thanks to our ancestors. They should pray for us. And Burkina Faso is making it clear that this is not about some attack on France. This is about independence and sovereignty. Just last week, Burkina Faso's President Traoré decided to release 4 French spies who were guilty of attempting to commit a coup against the president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, in 2022. The message is clear. Burkina Faso is not the pawn of France or the Dutch or the United States anymore. But forgiveness is also at the heart of their revolution. Traoré says that this is not just a split, it is a revolution with global ripples. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Apparently Trump works for French bankers now. He's threatening to arrest Ibrahim Traoré. You ought to know who he is. He's the youngest president in the world. He's the president of Burkina Faso, and he has been wrapping up the French empire in Africa. The French are still looting Africa through the banking system, through ownership of all the natural resources in Africa, and they've been straight looting the place. And this guy's been leading the charge to not do that shit anymore. Trying to opt this guy like he was Fidel Castro. I should tell you something. It doesn't seem to be very well known in the world media, but this is one of the most significant dudes in the world right now.
Have you heard of President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso? All right, young man, been in power 2 years now, president of Burkina Faso. He's a military guy, captain. And I don't know if you know about this, but there's been about 18 assassination attempts on his life. And he came into power at a very strategic time in the history of Burkina Faso, a lot of difficulty, instability. And he's done quite a few amazing things in his 2 years, even though they've tried to assassinate him so many times. If you go and look what he is trying to do in terms of key reforms aimed at stabilizing his nation, he has built schools, hospitals, roads, developed agriculture, donating a lot of tractors and equipment for agricultural development so they can produce their own food. They have stopped exporting raw materials. They are trying to process gold themselves, hospitals, all those kind of things. You know, there's a lot of things, even airport, all right? And so there's a lot of development that's going into Burkina Faso at this moment in time. And I'm sitting and I'm looking at this whole thing. Now, I'm not saying I agree with everything he is doing, all right? I'm also not saying that everything he's doing is bad. I think any president that is building schools, working on education, all right? Any president that is bettering the health care of their people, that's trying to help their people to become more self-sustainable, less reliant on imports, etc., increase production in the country, factories, job creation, etc. I think that is a praiseworthy president. And so the interesting thing is, when it comes to Africa, and you go and look at the history of the last 20 years, of Africa. And presidents that have been removed either through a military coup and or assassinated and or removed weird circumstances or committed suicide, you know. A lot of those, or let me rephrase that, some of them were corrupt, all right? All of them were not good. But there were a number of them whose heart was really to better their country. But they have something in common, and that is that they went against the global establishment, if I can put it like that. And I'm not going to define that, go into details, all right? I think you know what I'm talking about. And so a lot of them just suddenly left this earth in sometimes a very bizarre way. So I'm looking at President Ibrahim Traoré, and I'm not saying, again, I'm agreeing with everything he's doing, especially with some of his alliances, some of the other leaders in Africa that he's endorsing. Some of them are questionable, all right? But it is very clear that he's got a heart for his people and for his nation. And in his aim to develop his own country, there's been roughly 18 assassination attempts on his life. And if you look at the trend of African leaders disappearing when they want to build their own countries and invest in their people, isn't that a bit strange to you? Isn't that bizarre, you know? Now, I know what's going on. I'm not talking from a position of ignorance, all right? The thing is just I can't discuss a lot of these things on this platform, all right, because of the fact that the video will be removed. Free speech is not always as free as you think. You know, there's a price to pay. In any case, so I'm looking at this whole situation with interest and seeing where this is going. But I'll tell you one thing. If I look at what has happened the last 2 years with Captain Ibrahim Traoré, I would say if I was him, I would sleep with one eye open. And it's very hard to know who you trust in circumstances like that. And that is true for any leader, any government official, any president. Sometimes you don't know who are friends and who are your enemies. And but let's keep our eye on this. Very interesting developments, and a lot is changing in Burkina Faso at this moment in time.
Alassane Ouattara, the president of Ivory Coast. Listen to me very carefully. If you are going to let American use your air bases or military forces to try kill Ibrahim Traoré or destroy Burkina Faso or destroy Mali or destroy Niger, I am telling you straight, you will face us. And we will point you as Africa's enemy. This is direct warning to you.
Seeing this makes me so happy, for real. Leave your comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this video. In fact, we need to protect our presidents. You know, the good leadership in Africa. If you are a president and you are doing the right thing, trust me, we will stand for you. We will stand by your side. We will stand by the truth. With you, we can, because we know the truth. This is not well, let me say the 80s or the, like, you know, those times there was no internet and other stuff that we can be able to, you know, reach out to and know the truth and all that. But this time we know the truth and we'll be standing by your side no matter what. Leave your comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think, because it's really necessary so that we can be able to educate ourselves, understand ourselves. Together we can. Look at the way the whites are really defending, also knowing the truth and speaking the truth. This makes me so happy. Leave your comments, like and share.